deflated in the way that, we've crashed out of the playoffs. But I have to say, I'm incredibly proud of the way the guys have gone about their business. We've lost a very, very tight game tonight against an exceptionally good Columbus team with many, many different avenues to create and score. And in the end, it's taken, 120 minutes for them to beat us after a very difficult journey to this point. I think, the playing game, 120 minutes on Tuesday, once you get into overtime again, starts to have a bit of an effect physically. And, there's no doubt in my mind that, that was a pivotal moment and, one that went very much against us.
Thank you, Coach. We will now open the floor for questions. And just a reminder for everybody to please alert me through the chat. If you have a question, we will kick it off with Gentry Estes with the Tennessean.
Yeah, Gary, as you go back to the start of the season, you guys are being picked bottom of the league, maybe even dead last in the league. Do you think, when this settles, you'll be able to look back at this team and, really, I guess, be amazed by the overachievement over the course of this season?
Yeah, I do. I mean, there'll be a lot of reflection in the coming days and weeks on what we've been able to put together here, how we have navigated a very difficult season, what we've achieved, obviously, and how we strengthen. And that will be happening, I'm sure, in many, many places. But, on that basis, I'm delighted not only with where we've been able to extend ourselves to in this second round of the playoffs. I'm delighted in the way that the guys have conducted themselves. Not an easy game. Second one in 5 days away from home against very, very good teams in MLS. And I think we've given a very good account of ourselves. Yes, there are some areas that we can improve on, but to your point, with a first-year group, we'll all be, I'm sure, very pleased about the progress we've made. The shame is tonight, we won't be looking at what was achieved. We'll just be disappointed about a result. But, we'll take a deep breath and let the dust settle and try and, be a little bit more positive about the way this season has unfolded.
Tim Sullivan with For Club and Country.
What did you see on each of the 2 Columbus goals? The first one, Jesse got behind and then crossed it. And on the second one, he got behind and finished for himself. What did you see as those plays unfolded?
Well, the first goal was instrumental. I'm sure everyone saw that the way the game was unfolding, not many good opportunities either end. We look back on the one that hits the crossbar and bounces out instead of in. Joe made a fabulous save at the near post. But aside that, there weren't too many clear-cut opportunities. And, the stats in the game tell us that exactly what it was. After 90 minutes, it was very, very competitive and we very much held our own. The first goal, I felt as though the ball needed to be dealt with at source. I can't remember who it was who wriggled out on our right-hand side, their left, right in front of us, actually. But what we could see was that, being able to play beyond that defensive line, Zardes was in full flow then, and it was always going to be a problem. And it needed to have been dealt with at source, and it wasn't. And, the real difficulty is good sides like this Columbus group keep pushing, keep asking questions. There's some very, very talented attacking players in this group. And for a long, long time, we've been able to, to keep them under wraps. But, it was always going to be a tough task. And we certainly needed to be more of a threat going forward, to maybe, just question their confidence as they committed players forward.
Trey Hills with a question from the Tennessean. Just a quick reminder, please alert me through the chat if you have another question for Coach. Trey, the floor is yours.
Yes, Gary, for Jonder and for Hani and Randall, those are three different guys with three different stories, essentially, in terms of how they've performed in year one and how they've had to adjust to both Nashville and the MLS. What did you see tonight that was perhaps a culmination, or was it something that maybe starting a new chapter for those guys? It seemed like they were both, they were all kind of here and there throughout the game. Was there something that you may have signed that could help you determine what their paths are going to be going forward?
Well, a lot of our creative and attacking play was always going to be falling at their feet or on their shoulders to make the best of. We've lent on them heavily in the last month or so. I think Yonder has helped immensely. He's come in and give us a different dimension. He's slowly but surely, gained better physical status. He's got better endurance. So therefore, over the last 3 games, I think he's played 65, 70 and 90 minutes today, which I wouldn't have believed when he first turned up. So that's progress. And I do think we'll see the best of him next year. It's taken him a good while, not only to get fit, but to really form some sort of connection with the group. I thought Hani was very, very bright tonight. It didn't quite work for him. It didn't quite come off. And unfortunately for us, we were looking for a defining moment from one of those trio, and it never came off. For Randall, listen, he's been absolutely outstanding in my eyes for a good. It was tough for all 3 of them tonight. They were all kept under, very tight wraps from a good back line. There were some things within the creative connections that could have been better. But the simplicity of this is you're in a semi-final. If you want to win, you've got to have those guys that creatively turn up on the day. You maybe need an hero or 2 in front of goal, and you've got to be ultra competitive. Well, we tick one of those boxes, and for 90 minutes, we've been ultra competitive. But unfortunately, on the day, we weren't able to find that moment, and our hero went missing. But we've had many, many occasions where we've had more than one hero turn up, and tonight I was waiting for it, but unfortunately it didn't happen, and that is knockout football.
Ben Wright with Broadway Sports.
Yeah, Gary, just how much of an impact do you think going 120 minutes against Toronto had on your ability to push on late in the game, especially in extra time tonight?
I think you saw the impact of that into extra time. Up until that point, I felt as though there were enough qualities within the group to find a result, and why wouldn't I? It was 0-0. They'd huffed and puffed. We'd done likewise. The substitutions were all about adding energy. We, for probably the last 10, 12 minutes of that second period, we found it very, very difficult to get out of our half. There was a lot of effort expelled, making sure that they were limited. And I felt the necessity to get Daniel on and maybe threaten him behind a little bit more and stretch the game out again. He'd done a good job for us in Connecticut against Toronto. Taylor likewise. I thought Derek was terrific when he came on. But, the simple fact is we still have to find a period in the game. We still have to have the clarity in possession to make a good chance and a goal scoring moment. And through their very decent defensive play, through our lack of edge on the night, and I do think tired legs. And to your point, yes, it was a tough game on Tuesday. And I think the extra time here today started to have a little bit of an effect, and you have to expect it would.
We have one final question by Tim Sullivan.
Gary, what's your message to the guys in the locker room? How do you put a bow on the season yet? Do you let them kind of stew over the loss, or do you kind of give that sort of, here's how we go forward message?
No, listen, today is all about the result. It's all about the performance. I've said a couple of things in there to my feelings on the way that they've performed, how they've projected themselves, how they've, just constantly performed with such a magnificent attitude, so professional. In the very first year of this organisation, I don't think any of us in coaching or senior positions at the club could have asked for any more from a group of players. They've been absolutely wonderful. But there's nothing I can say tonight that's going to make anyone feel any better. We all feel very deflated, and understandably so. The game was there to be won. We all believed we had enough in our group to do so. We'd proved against some good sides on the way here, and our form was in a good place. There was no reason to believe otherwise. So unfortunately, that makes the fall even greater, because if you come into it with a lack of belief, then part of you is already getting ready for a bad result and a defeat. So nobody was in that place. We'll all go home. We'll gather ourselves, and over the coming days and weeks, we can look back and have a discussion, maybe a little bit more in depth on the season, but also behind the scenes, start to think about how we continue to get stronger, because this is just a platform. This isn't the end product, and we have to continue to improve, and we'll do our very utmost to do that.
Dax, your thoughts on an amazing campaign?
Yeah, good season. Frustrating way to lose. I think we have a lot to be proud of. The way we grew stronger throughout the season. Sometimes life is a little bit bigger than the game, and I think we can all agree that most of the time this season it was more about what was happening off the field than on the field. But when we did get on the field, like I said, I thought we grew stronger throughout the season, and getting two good wins in the playoffs is a nice feeling for us. But obviously, losing tonight leaves a bitter taste in our mouths, and it's one that obviously is extremely frustrating to end the season on. So just have to digest it, move on, try to get better.
Walker, for you, on a personal level, you see Defender of the Year, but what does it mean to have set the foundation for the club so far?
Yeah, I mean, Dax covered a lot of how I feel as well. It's a lot of things going on that are a lot bigger than us, and there was a lot of resiliency that was shown from the group this year, and that part makes us feel really proud as leaders of the group, just to continue to try and drive us along each and every day, get better in training every day, and challenge ourselves. And I thought we did that for the most part, and we progressed throughout the year. We got better, like Dax said, got 2 wins in the playoffs, but we had our chances tonight, and that's what's going to make it more difficult. It's not a game where we were on our heels and like they had really amazing chances. It was kind of back and forth, and one play can change it all. So tough pill to swallow. It's never fun having your season end short of your ultimate goals, but we're going to take it in stride, and I'm sure guys are going to be ready to rest and recover, and then start working on things that they can improve on for next season.
We will now open the floor for questions. We will kick it off with a question from Dry Hills with the Tennessean for you, Walker.
We saw you a couple of times be able to actually get forward and with the ball, and whether play it out wide or obviously find yourself on the end of some crosses in the box. In the final third, what was the difference in how Columbus defends you versus how you were defending Columbus? For those who may not understand how Columbus defends and how that's perhaps different than how you guys defend, and what was the key for them that made it so difficult for you guys?
Honestly, they're a good defensive group. They're solid in their organization. They got two center backs who are very good in the air, fullbacks who are very technical and can keep possession. So that part is no different than how we defend. I think, we had our chances tonight. We had plays that were, two off the goal line in the first half. We had some crosses that were dangerous. And really in that first 90 minutes, I think either team could have won it and either team could have gotten that one goal. So they're a good defense. They're a good team. There's a reason why they got such a high seed for the playoffs and got this home game. But I like I said, I think it was there for us and came up a little bit short.
Tim Sullivan with Fort Clapham Country with a question for you, Dax.
Yeah, Dax, kind of a similar question. When the defense is clicking for much of the game, but you guys are generating offensive opportunities and they're obviously not paying off. Do you feel the pressure to push forward a little bit more and kind of, I guess, stir the pot a little bit up front?
Yeah, sometimes. I think that for the most part, it was a pretty clear tactical battle between both teams tonight. I think that we earned a lot of their respect in the way that they defended against us. They didn't press us as high. We created chances. And ultimately, for me, during the game, we're just not sharp enough in the final third. We have a couple chances here and there, obviously really dangerous on set pieces. From the run of play, I just think we had too many loose passes, too many loose touches, not clinical enough in the final third when we had little opportunities to break forward. And the difference in the game, honestly, guys, is just one or two mental lapses and breakdowns from us in the back where Columbus took advantage and they were ruthless. And so, those are the fine margins. Those are the tough lessons that we have to learn. And it's extremely frustrating sitting here right now, having not won the game. But yeah, I don't really feel any more pressure to go forward or not. I try to just take what the game gives me. It's a little different with Brian Anunga in there. I think I have a little bit more freedom to go forward and try to be a little bit more dangerous. And then with Derek Jones, he's obviously a little bit better going forward. And so I try to sit in and give us that player in front of the back line. So it just kind of is take what the game gives you.
We will close today's availability with questions from Gentry Estes for both of you.
Yeah, guys. As two players who've been around the league and you come to an expansion team without really knowing, I guess, what to expect. And obviously a weird year for a lot of reasons, but how much fun have you guys had being a part of this and then being on a team that ended up at this kind of opportunity when not a lot of people expected
it? Honestly, we're really lucky. I mean, you look at this year for a lot of people and a lot of people lost jobs. A lot of people, had mental struggles with the pandemic. We're humans too, and we face these challenges. But at the end of the day, we got to get back to playing, and that's what we love to do. And to be able to do that for a living, it's the best job in the world to be able to compete for a living and go out there and represent a city and a club. And I feel like I felt really proud to represent Nashville this year. I think we're growing. I think we set a very good foundation for what's to come, and it is fun. And it's fun when you're winning, and especially when you're winning in the playoffs and you feel this sense of, we can do this mentality. And honestly, I felt that way all the way, even down 2-0. I thought going into extra time, I thought, this team always has fight in it and it always has a belief. And that's fun. It's fun to compete with these guys and to become better friends off the field. So, amidst all the chaos, I consider ourselves very lucky, and it's just always fun to compete.
Yeah, it's really difficult for me to answer that question right now, unfortunately, because the disappointment with the season ending is so apparent, and it's so fresh. So I think in a few days or a week, we can look back on the season and say how great of a season it was, considering the circumstances that we all went through. But right now, I think the reason I feel so much disappointment and so much frustration at our season ending is because it was a real belief, I think, in our group after the Toronto game that we could go on and really win MLS Cup. And you can't say that very often about an expansion team. And these moments don't come around too often. So it's hard for me to talk about fun right now, but I think Walker summed it up very succinctly and very nicely that when you're winning and when you get to do what you love and when you get to be on the field in such a difficult time for everyone in their lives going through a pandemic right now, it's a great feeling. It's an escape from what the real world is all about right now. And so I think the way that the city of Nashville embraced us throughout our season is something that I'm so proud of. And I'm so thankful that we get to play for a city and a club that really supports its players. And so this is the foundation that's been set. Hopefully we can get better. We need to get better in the off season. I think that, the coaching staff and the front office staff know that, and we know that as players that there will be changes, but we need to keep trying to push this thing to get to the next level because, we want to win trophies and we want to win championships. And in order to do that, you have to keep pushing the envelope. And so hopefully we can do that.